Hi. All right. So I want to go over the associative property of multiplication. And by the end of this, hopefully you'll be able to understand and apply the associative property of multiplication. And property, that just means like there's a specific rule that we have to follow in math that is proven to be true. Um, So last time you've learned about the commutative property of multiplication. So that means a rule that says no matter what a rule that says no matter what order you use to multiply factors, the product will not change. So for instance, if I had 3 times 2, that equaled 6. Or if I had 2 times 3, that would also equal 6. It doesn't matter if you reverse the 3 and the 2. So basically, 2 times 3 is equal to 3 times 2. They both equal 6. One thing I want you to keep in mind is the equal sign. That just means that each side is balanced. However that is, just make sure that each side equals the same amount. All right, so now that we know that, let's dive into the associative property. This is a rule that says no matter how you group factors to multiply, the product will not change. A rule that says no matter how you group factors to multiply, the product or the answer will not change. So let's go ahead and look at some examples. Not that. I don't want that. Okay. All right. So here are some examples right here. A times B times C equals A times B times C. So when we're talking about a group, oftentimes we can group numbers together using parentheses. And this will follow through when you learn about the order of operations. Sometimes we have to multiply a group before the rest. So for instance, maybe if I was making bags of cookies. Okay, so each bag held 5 cookies. And then I wanted to make sure that I could give a bag to all 9 of my friends. Here's an example where we might need to group our numbers together. Okay, so this is where the associative property kicks in. It just says, basically, just like the commutative property, order doesn't really matter. Okay, so you're still going to get the same answer regardless. So for instance, we have 2. Let's find the 2 in the other one. We have 2 here and 2 here. That's inside the parentheses. And then 3 times 5. And then here's the 3 and here's the 5. And if I wanted to solve this, I could say, okay, well, I do the parentheses first. 3 times 15, or 3 times 5, that's 15. And then 2 times 3 is 6, times 5. So now 2 times 15 is 30, and 6 times 5 is 30. It works. Oh my goodness. So the commutative property, that doesn't have, really, it just doesn't have any groups in it, like, or parentheses. Okay, they're both saying you can multiply in any order to get your answer, which is pretty cool. Okay, this has to do with multiplication number sentences. We're not talking about adding, subtracting, and division in there as well, just strictly multiplication. Okay, so let's look at the examples here. It says, which equation is an example of the associative property? Associative, that's the one we just learned about. Do you think it's the first one, second, third, or fourth one? I need to look at them closely. All right, so you might think it's the one. Yes, it did jumble the order a little bit, but the multiplier is the same. We need to pick a different multiplier actually. Um, which equation would best fit our associative property would be number 4. 3 times 2 times 4 equals 3 times 2 times 4. Here, let me go back. If you didn't make the connection when we were on this page, you can see that the multipliers are in different spots. So for instance, I'm saying like the outside multiplier. So outside of the parentheses, A is now inside the parentheses, and the C that was in the parentheses here is now on the outside of the parentheses. So just make sure that your multiplier or the number on the outside of the parentheses is different. Okay, moving on. Okay, let's do one more. Which equation is an example of the associative property? 1, 2, 3, or 4. Look at that multiplier. Is it different? Number 1. This is not the associative property. This is the commutative property. Number 2, no, we're dealing with addition. Nope, that's not the associative property. Let's look at the third one. Is our outside multipliers different? Oh, yes, they are. How about our fourth one? Nope, they're not. So it cannot be the fourth one. It is the third option. All right. Hopefully this helped you a little bit understand the differences between the commutative and associative property. If you have any questions, please let me know. But just remember that we're strictly talking about multiplication in here, not addition, subtraction, or division. But no matter what order you do multiply these numbers in, either in the associative or in the associative here or the commutative property here, you will still get the same answer. All right, thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.